So, Doctor Who, the 10th Planet. The last episode of Doctor Who made with William Hartnell. Or Bill Hartnell, if you want to get fancy. Doctor Who, the 10th Planet is a story, right here. It's a story about alien creatures that were a lot like humans that drifted off into space on a planet a lot like Earth's that used to orbit near Earth but left the sun and went to the edge of the universe. But then they came back and are attempting to steal all the energy from the planet. And the only place that has any way to stop them is a base in the South Pole ran by a bunch of army men. Thoughts on the story? It was very The first episode, it's a 4-episode serial. The first episode is about just basically getting to know the army base, all the guys who are going to die, all the guys that all one or two of the guys will actually survive. Remember this, that, and honestly, I don't remember much that happens. It was very lackluster, but then again, you're sort of building it up. I watched it all in one sitting, but I'm sure if you watched it like every, once a week or whatever, you'd find it very lackluster, and not until the end do you think, I'm really gripped to come back next week and watch the next episode. Speaking of episode, the end of the episode had some soldiers trying to break into the TARDIS because no one believes the Doctor that he knew about anything related to the 10th planet with a welding torch. But then get attacked by the Mondasian Cybermen, the original Cybermen, the original design. Very creepy, very inhuman. I can never tell if they're wearing gloves or if their hands are just very veiny. It's hard to tell. I mean, can you tell? Right there. Hard to see because my camera is terrible and on my computer. But you know what? To each their own. Anyways. The second episode. I tell you what, I just watched the entire thing and I already forget what happened in the second episode. They met the first group of Mondasian Cybermen that take them hostage. They try and fight them. Some of them die. Then they try to save a rocket ship that's in the air for some reason, which explodes. And then they try and do other stuff. They have the ability to knock people out, and they also have weird guns on their chests, which one of the characters, the commander, who was very character. It just means he was a character, he had motives, but all in all, forgettable in the grand scheme. Anyways, he steals our weird chest guns and kills them because I guess normal bullets they're immune to, or they had no normal bullets. Well, they did have normal guns and normal bullets, but as a show of strength, the Cybermen bent their normal guns, which made their normal bullets ultimately useless. And then episode 2 ended with them realizing, wow, there's an entire armada. Shit. It's a lot. We're doomed, aren't we, planet Earth? Yes, we are. Anyways, that's how that ends. Then in episode 3, what happens. Oh yeah, the Doctor isn't really in it in the good middle chunk of the story. He sort of passes out in episode 2 or 3. And then he's just sort of forgotten, just laying in bed the whole time, just I'm asleep and knocked out. This could be because William Hartnell gained bronchitis, which wasn't really helpful. He managed to make it back for his final episode, but that's not what I watched. for the final episode. I'll get to it when I get to it. And effects are standard Doctor Who effects. Sometimes they're fantastical but bad, and other times they're just bad. Either way, you can't fault them. It was the 60s. 66 to be exact. 1966. This was made in 1866. I'd be surprised and confused. But anyways, what happened in episode 3? Basically, they decided to launch off. It was either the Tsar bomb or the Z bomb. I know Z was involved in the name. And they had one, and there were like 2 or 3 others in the existence of the world. There was this whole plot that I guess was sort of filler for the 3rd episode, where they tried to sort of just the Mondasian planet, which I don't think the Cybermen ever described how they were able to drive a planet from across the galaxy back to Earth. Several questions, no answers. Either way, their planet explodes, so nothing to really learn from them except what they left behind. Oddly enough, first time they invade Earth, it was a lot simpler method than what they did in David Tennant's era when they became ghosts that flooded the Earth several times. And then they just had Earth by the balls. Luckily, we had Daleks in that episode. But anyways, back to the 10th planet. Episode 3 ends with them doing a launch sequence for the bomb. But apparently, the Mondasian planet cannot handle the amount of energy they're stealing from Earth, and it will kill them. So they're saying, let's wait. But the commander, or whoever, the dickhead with the face, who's like in charge, is like, I'm getting my sun down. They're like, well, but if we wait, then the planet will explode. But my son is still doomed. I mean, you never know. He could survive. There's no real gamble. No, we're blowing it up and saving my son. Now I think if you launch a nuclear device, not only will it affect Earth, but it will probably affect your son too. Just launch the bomb, damn it! I have a gun! So they, after a few failed attempts to stop the bomb, the episode ends with a very fancy countdown. Up to 2 minutes, but then they stop like a good first of the way through because I forget exactly, something to do with small issue. Anyways, countdown, then episode ends. Now, the 4th episode was missing from the archives, so what they did was they animated it. If I remember correctly, this was the first Doctor Who episode that had been the first missing Doctor Who episode that had been reanimated to sort of fill the void. And I will say, the animation quality suits the quality of Doctor Who's effects. Some of the effects that they normally do look like they're a part of the world, but at the same time, the animation is kind of bad. You can really tell it's the first time they were trying anything. I'm pretty sure they switched to animation studios after this. After they released this, they're like, well, there's some interest in reanimating the missing episodes. But why don't we get a studio that's better at animating? That way we can get some bang for our buck. You know? They like it so much. I don't remember this for sure. I might be entirely wrong. But you know what? If they did, I don't blame them. Anyways. Things really pick up again in the episode. They end up in a stalemate where they're in the room where they were normally launching the rocket. They took out the bomb from the rocket. And basically they're at a stalemate. The humans are at a stalemate with the Cybermen. The Doctor comes in for like one quick heroic day. Saving everyone with words, trying to convince the Mondasian Cybermen, your planet's gonna blow up. Want to live here? They're like, no, screw you. Take the Q crawl onto the ship, and in 10 minutes later, take the old man onto the ship, because these guys are not going to work with us, obviously, and save us, because, we have confidence that our planet will not explode due to Mondasian death and explosions. Now I think of it, if the planet Mondas is going to explode, wouldn't the debris affect Earth greatly? I guess not as greatly as, say, radiation coating the Earth, but, I mean, either way, the Earth is doomed in specific places. Well, I guess they couldn't really plan that ahead of time. They wait long enough, and the planet just explodes, and then all the Mondasian Cybermen turn to dust. And then out of nowhere, the Doctor dies and turns into a completely different actor. Yeah, remember earlier I said this is the William Hartnell's last episode. It's funny how they... Anyways, personally, the story is very okay. It's not fantastical or, I don't know, or mind-blowing, but it's William Hartnell's last adventure, sort of, so... I mean, I guess that's a good reason to watch it. I mean, what more can you do? Eat it. Basically, I give 10th Planet 6 out of 10. You can watch it if you want, but I probably won't be watching it again anytime soon. The case is nice, though. Comes with 2 discs. Disc 2 has a... I don't know. If you want to watch it, go ahead. There are worse things in the world, but it's just forgettable. The only reason that you'd remember this is for the pure fact that the Cybermen are creepy and that the Doctor regenerates for the first time. Everything else is sort of totally forgetful. And the animation is alright, but there are times where you can see that they were cutting corners. Honestly, the most recent animation that was released, the Macra Terror, which my dad borrowed. Hi, Dad. He watches these. Which he borrowed. He said he liked my review and decided to watch it, which I think is a plus. I don't know if he's watched it yet, but... me personally, I thought it was good. And what they did was clever in the animation, which they couldn't really do in this because it was all 2D. Basically, I've already reviewed it story-wise, but now I'm reviewing the animation in terms of quality, because I feel like I should talk about it. It's in black and white. I'm going to compare it to the most recent animation released for missing episodes, the Macra Terror, which was done in color. Now, in the Macra Terror, it was clearly designed to be in color, because I guess black and white would be too boring. I'm glad they decided to make it color, because the color really just makes the world feel alive and pop. Here, it's black and white because the rest of the episodes were black and white, so there was really no reason to add color. But with that, they used a lot of shading, a lot of black line shading, because, outlines, instead of doing simple outlines like, black shading outlines. I guess it was done on a computer. Might have been done in Flash. They with just solid black lines, which worked, but I don't know, just kind of dumb to me. In terms of animation quality, it's good. It serves the purpose of just sort of showing you the basic idea of what happened in the missing episode. But all in all, if it weren't for the stuff that it had, it would be totally forgetful. If it was, say, possibly another Dalek story, it would be very forgetful. In fact, the way that the day was saved was actually kind of stupid. The Doctor died of old age, not even affected by the Cybermen. They did a side plot where they thought the ship that they were trapped on was going to explode, and it doesn't. All they did is just wait. Basically, all they really did was survive, and that was about it. They survived and stopped the Tsar bomb from destroying Earth. Basically, it was an issue that if you took out the Doctor and his companions in that story, there's a good chance that the people would have probably survived themselves without their help. It's just, it was all right. All in all, forgettable. 6 out of 10. And story, 6 out of 10. Animation, 5.5 out of 10. Thank you for watching. I'm done reviewing. Therefore, I've taken out my reviewing gum. Good night.